On the world news tonight from Baba Bagide Imo Television, first the headlines. Certificate controversy. Supreme Court rarely admit fresh evidence. Ubani. Supreme Court fixes date for final judgment in FG's case against Nnamdi Kanu. Court martial finds Major General guilty of stealing and sales of army properties worth 74 million naira. Sean's tool, court decides suit against OAG Gandhi, October 25th. Nigeria police honor 3 officers who assisted a woman to fix a punctured car tire. And on sport, Onuachu thankful to Transport teammate for impressive goal scoring form. I am Morire Rabila Lawal, the news in detail. A former chairman section of Public Interest and Development Law, SPIDA, Nigeria Bar Association, Monday Ubani, says it will be difficult for the Supreme Court to admit fresh evidence in the appeal of the judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. He was reacting to the case initiated in the United States by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Atiku Abubakar, where he requested for the release of President Bola Tinubu's certificate from the Chicago State University, with the suspicion that the certificate the president submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, may be or maybe not authentic. Looking at the facts surrounding it, the use of admissibility of fresh evidence by the appellate court is very rare, especially if that evidence was available to you while you were initiating the process. The Supreme Court will never, or even the Court of Appeal, will not admit fresh evidence because the job is to review the decision of the court below and not to now evaluate any evidence. They don't take any evidence, but there are special circumstances under which fresh evidence can be admitted by the appellate court, and that ground is maybe by the time you file this case that evidence was not available, Ubani said. President Tinubu, through his lawyers, resisted Atiku's demand for his records to be released, but the U.S. court eventually ordered CSU to release the president's academic records to Atiku, who had told the court he needed them for his appeal in the Supreme Court. Ubani said it will take a lot from Atiku's legal team to convince the Supreme Court to admit fresh evidence in the appeal of the Election Tribunal judgment, as the Apex Court will only be reviewing the decision of the lower court. The senior lawyer noted that Atiku's legal team will be challenged by Tinubu's team on the issue of admissibility of fresh evidence, adding that the court may be left to use its discretionary power to decide whether or not to admit fresh evidence in the case. The issue of admissibility of fresh evidence is very critical. You must convince, and whoever is bringing it will be opposed by the other party. So the court now exercises what is called discretionary power in either admitting or not allowing that fresh evidence to come in, he said. The Supreme
system of education, whereby documents, not all documents, especially certificates, they outsource printing of certificates in their own system. Their system is not like the way we run our own educational system, primary, secondary. So far, you have all the prerequisites, and from their own records, it's just like.
The Supreme Court has fixed December 15, 2023 as a date to deliver judgment in the case by the federal government of Nigeria against the release of the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. Information report that the Supreme Court announced the date on Thursday after the lawyers of both parties made their final submissions. It will be recalled that the Court of Appeal had dismissed the treasonable felony charge against Kanu and ordered his release based on argument that the IPOB leader was unlawfully brought back to Nigeria after he jumped bail. However, the government appealed the ruling of the appellate court and approached the Apex Court to set aside the ruling, but Kanu is praying the court to uphold the ruling on his release and set aside the stay of execution on judgment. After the federal government, represented by Tijani Ghazali, San, and Kanu represented by Mike Ozekome, San made final submissions today. The Supreme Court picked December 15 to give a verdict. Moving on to the next story. Among the charges before the special court-martial, which held at the Army Headquarters Command Officers Mess, was the collection of a whopping 1,045 US paid by shipping companies for the use of Nigeria Army jetty located at number 6 Marina, Victoria Island, Lagos. Mohammed, who was a one-time group managing director and executive vice chairman of Nigeria Army Properties Limited, was charged for stealing, forgery, conspiracy, and theft and unauthorized diversion of army property, among others, and they are all subject to service discipline. The special court martial set up by the Nigeria Army to try one of its officers, Major General Umar Muhazu Mohammed, has found him guilty of 14 of 18 count charges against him, which are all contrary to service law. Mohammed was also found guilty of a theft of $430,800 being monies paid into Nigeria Army domiciliary account at Unity Bank, Abuja, for the use of Nigeria Army JT Marina, 5th Lagos. Furthermore, Major General Mohammed was found guilty of withdrawing and confiscating a sum of 74 million naira out of 75 million naira paid for a property belonging to the Nigeria Army at Ikoyi, Lagos. He was, however, found not guilty on allegations of selling army property worth 200 million naira in Lagos and stealing of the sum of around 750 million naira out of the sum of 2.5 billion naira secured from banks, as well as contribution from subscribers for an army housing estate in Asokoro, Abuja. He was also not found guilty of charges of forging a deed of agreement document pursuant to confiscating another army property in Lagos. The special court martial, which have Major General Kamis Inyam as president, has 7 other major generals as members, and the brigadier general as judge advocate, and it is expected to read out its sentences for the accused by Tuesday next week. However, it was observed that Major General U.M. Mohammed was brought into the court in a wheelchair, even though a president of the court, Major General, said all necessary medical checks were carried out on the accused and showed that he was fit to stand for trial. Lead counsel for the prosecution was Colonel B.A. Oguntayo, retired, while lead counsel for the defense was Olalekan Ojo San. An Oyo State High Court in Ogbomoso on Wednesday reserved judgment till October 25th in a lawsuit challenging the selection of Oba Afolabi Gandhi Olawi as the Shoun of Ogbomoso. The report said that the suit marked HOG/27/2022 was filed by Prince Kabir Olawi, who alleged irregularities in the process that led to the Gandhi's emergence as Shoun of Ogbomoso. The plaintiff is seeking a court order to nullify Gandhi's emergence and order a fresh process. Gandhi was installed as the new Shoun of Ogbomoso on September 8, 2023, months after the throne had become vacant following the death of Oba Jimoh Oyewumi on December 12, 2021. Oba Oyewumi, who died aged 95, ruled for 48 years, Justice A.K. Adedokun fixed October 25th for judgment in the suit against Oba Gandhi, following the final address by the legal teams. Nigeria Police Force honors 3 officers with Oyo Command who assisted a woman to fix her punctured car tire. The officers are ASP T.U. Mise Adedire, Inspector Dauda Nuhu, and Inspector Isaac Omoniwa of the Oyo Police Command. For their professional conduct, the 3 officers were given recommendations later by the CP Oyo at Elele, Ibadan. The Nigeria Police Force has honored 3 officers with the Oyo State Police Command Street Response Squad who assisted a woman to fix her punctured car tire along the Ijenyi-Ibadan Expressway. This was made known on Monday in a statement by ACP Olumuniwa Adejobi, the Force Public Relations Officer, Force Headquarters Abuja, on Monday. The policemen who assisted a woman to fix her punctured tire in Oyo Command were honored today, as the information reads. They were given commendation letters by the CP Oyo at Elele, Ibadan. Their professional conduct was indeed commendable, the statement read. The officers honored are ASP Tomise Adedire, Inspector Dauda Nuhu, and Inspector Isaac Omoniwa of the Oyo State Police Command Swift Response Squad under the watch of CSP Femi Okunowo. Following the news of their gesture, the NPF released a statement to commend the selflessness displayed by our officers. This story brings to fore the positive impact of our officers make in our community. While they are among the many who go above and beyond to save the people, it's crucial to acknowledge their dedication. The Lagos State Police Command has confirmed that Owodunni Ibrahim Oluwatosin, aka Prime Boy, who was declared wanted on Wednesday, had turned himself in. The command spokesperson Benjamin Hundeyin made this known in a post on his X handle. Information reports that the command had declared Prime Boy wanted following his failure to honor the police invitation successfully sent to him since the commencement of the investigation into the circumstances leading to the death of singer Ilerioluwa Aloba, popularly known as Mohbad. The state command also added that the State Commissioner of Police, CP Idowu Omonwa, would give a sum of ₦1 million to anyone with useful information leading to his arrest. Hundeyin stated, following his being declared wanted, Owodunni Ibrahim Oluwatosin, aka Prime Boy, has turned himself in. He has immediately been taken into custody for interrogation and other necessary actions. The spokesman also assured the public that no stone will be left unturned in ensuring a diligent investigation. The command equally assures that all persons found culpable in the death of Mr. Ilerioluwa Aloba, aka Mohbad, will definitely be brought to justice, he concluded. Another story coming from Lagos. 3 people were made to die when a BRT bus ran into a motorcycle they were on in Alakija, Lagos. The motorcycle rider had 2 passengers with him when he took the BRT lane, a mistake that cost their lives. A bike rider and 2 passengers died on spot after being crushed by the BRT bus. The tragic incident occurred on Wednesday, October 4, 2023. The 2 passengers, said to be footballers returning from a match, have been identified simply as Azuka and Wahidi. Video showed online shows the body of the deceased lying on the floor. The bodies were mangled and covered. Moving on to the next story. A widow, Mrs. Opeyemi Adegboyega, has dragged the Ondo State government before the State High Court over the alleged disappearance of her child, Oluwaseun Omoniyi, in the custody of the Ondo State Juvenile Home, Akure. Also joined in the suit are the State Commissioner for Women Affairs and the State Attorney General. The claimant, who lost her husband some months ago, said the victim was admitted into the juvenile home in 2017 when he was 3 months old while she was in a hospital receiving treatment. She said the juvenile home offered to take custody of her 3 children to enable her to follow up on her treatment, but she and her mother agreed to leave only Omoniyi in the home. Upon her full recovery a month later, she said she went back to the juvenile home with her mother to demand her baby boy, but she was told that her child had died and her corpse had been deposited at the mortuary of the Ondo State Specialist Hospital. According to her, on getting to the state hospital, she was told that the hospital did not receive any corpse of a child from the juvenile home at that period, and all petitions on the matter to the state governor, Mr. Rotimi Akeredolu, the Ministry of Women Affairs, and Department of State Services had yielded no results. Adegboyega, who filed a suit through our lawyer, Mr. Oju Kekemeke, sought an order of the court directing the defendant to account for the whereabouts of the boy, whose disappearance occurred while in the custody of the juvenile home under the supervision of the State Ministry of Women Affairs. She also sought an order of the court to direct the defendant to pay her 50 million naira as exemplary and aggravated damages, 40 million naira as general damages for the excruciating pain, anguish, personal loss, and psychological trauma caused by the negligence of acts of the defendant, as well as 5 million naira damage as cost of this action. The claimant also sought a court order that 15% interest per annum be paid on the judgment sum from the date of the judgment until the judgment sum is finally liquidated. You are watching the world news from Baba Gbagede Imo Television. Next to come is the foreign story. A false claim that 700 Nigerian nurses in the UK were found by the National Health Service to have faked their qualifications to work in the country is circulating online. Reuters reports after fact-checking the claim. In the UK, the NHS found 700 Nigerian nurses had fake qualifications as people stood in for their exams, post on X, formerly known as Twitter and Facebook, said. The X post, which at the time of writing had been viewed 1.3 million times, at Nigeria is considered as a red list country for the recruitment of health professionals, meaning poaching of staff could endanger its own health and care system. It is true that Nigeria is on the red list as one of 52 countries that the UK does not actively recruit from, according to the UK government code of practice. This is in line with the World Health Organization's WHO support and safeguard list to protect countries with healthcare shortages. Recruiting is only allowed when personnel apply directly or through a mutual agreement. Finally, on sports. Paul Onuachu has reflected on his impressive start alive in the Turkish Super League. The Yankee eight-man joined Trabzonspor from Sky Bet Championship side Southampton on a season-long loan deal from last month. The 29-year-old has scored 3 goals and registered 1 assist in his first 3 games for the Blues Burgundy. Onuachu thanked his Trabzonspor teammate for their effort in making him settle down at the club. Everybody here played a big role in making me settle in, and I just want to give my best to the team and help them win games and make the fans happy as well, the Nigerian international said. Onuachu has endured a torrid spell during his time at Southampton before making the switch to Turkey. He failed to register a goal in 12 league appearances for the Saints in England. With our sports story, we've come to the end of today's world news. Before we go, some headlines. Supreme Court rarely admit fresh evidence, Ubani. Supreme Court fixes date for final judgment in FT's case against Nnamdi Kanu. Court martial finds Major General guilty of stealing and sales of army properties worth 74 million naira. Shows to courts decide suit against OAG Gandhi, October 25th. Nigeria police honors 3 officers who assisted a woman to fix a punctured car tire. And on sports, Onuachu thanks Trabzonspor's teammate for impressive goal-scoring form in Turkey. For updates of our broadcast on YouTube, our handle is Bagede Imo Television. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell, select option all to access all of our broadcasts. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. For advert placement, recruiting services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen. Thank you for watching. I am Mo Rabida Lawa. Good evening.